Hey, North Rock Church, we're in day 4 of our 21 days of prayer and fasting. And today we're reading John chapter 4 today as a church family. And in this chapter, man, there's so much in it, specifically 2 interactions Jesus has that are powerful. One interaction Jesus has is with a royal official who has a sick son, and he's asking Jesus to heal his son. And literally with a spoken word, Jesus heals this official's son. And we just see in this moment that God is our great physician, that he is so able to meet our healing needs, the needs that we have physically. But there's another interaction that I want to kind of hang out on, and this is a more familiar story with a woman at the well. A woman at the well. And you might be thinking, like, what is so significant about a woman at a well? This woman comes and is wanting water, and she has an interaction with Jesus. And in that time, there were a few things that were kind of out of the ordinary. One, this woman was a Samaritan, which at that time, Samaritans, that people group in the Jewish culture, the Jewish people group, they were kind of at odds. They didn't interact. They kind of would go out of their way not to connect. There was a lot of tension between these 2 people groups. And so for Jesus to speak to a Samaritan woman was really out of the ordinary. A man and a woman speaking publicly in that context as well was really outside of the norms of that culture. On top of Jesus being a religious leader, speaking to a woman of her caliber, which was a woman that was well known in that community for having many failed relationships. She was seen as immoral. She was rejected, kind of seen as less than. And so Jesus kind of breaks all the rules in speaking to this woman at the well who was so thirsty and was looking just for physical water. And I love this moment because we see Jesus making it a point to take time. He's doing all these miracles. His ministry is starting to develop, and he's literally taking time to speak to this woman, breaking all the rules, going outside of the culture of that time to meet a need that maybe she didn't even realize she had. We see in verse 10, Jesus answered her and said, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." Living water. God wanted to give her more than what she was asking for. In verse 14, it says, "But so whosoever drinks the water that I give them will never thirst." Will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. Jesus wanted to quench her thirst for acceptance, for relationship, and for meaning. And he wants to do the same for us. He wants to come into our circumstances. He wants to go past our past, and he wants to meet our deepest need, And the living water that he's talking about is his spirit. This is what God offers us in the midst of our brokenness, in the midst of our pain, in the midst of our rejection, is his presence. It is his spirit. We get forgiveness in his presence. We get rest in his presence. We get peace in his presence. What do you need today? Where do you find yourself today? Because God is ready, Jesus is ready to meet you right where you're at and to give you everything you need through his spirit.